Well, good morning. Welcome to Integrative Preparedness. I'm Steve Smith. How are you all today? I'm waiting for a big storm to get here. It's supposed to be a monster. I just checked the radar, and it is huge. I'm going to see whether we're going to be able to get any work done today or not. So we got a big storm coming our way too in our country. And I just did one over on American Reversion. Some of you all are over there. Those of you who aren't and who are interested in the political side of things, come join us over there on American Reversion. If you're not, that's cool, you know. But that's really where I talk about the political aspects of things. Here we talk about the preparedness aspects of things. They should overlap, but not everybody sees them as overlapping. So that's why you get your choice of one or the other or both. For those of you who didn't hear the Moron in Chief's speech the other night, I watched it, so you didn't have to, and I talked about it in a little bit of detail over there on the AR channel. It was the most divisive, threatening pile of steaming excrement I have heard for a long time. If it wasn't the worst, I'd have to go back and see whether one of his previous ones or his Democrat predecessor had made one that was like that, but it was one of the worst, and it called, and I'm not talking political here. This is a matter of it's a matter of our country. It's a matter of our future. It's a matter of political weapons being used against the country, and essentially they're setting it up. He said a couple of things. He, of course, demonized all of those of us who are right of center, and talked about how democracy was under threat and democracy was going to be destroyed. Democracy. I thought he used it 9 million times. One of the commenters over there on AR said he used it 37 times. Every time he started a sentence, there was democracy in there. And of course, it's a word that sounds great for people who don't understand it, and which is most people. And so it's under threat, and it's not going to survive if the Republicans win, and blah blah blah. One of the things that he put in there was that it was going to take some time for the results of these elections to come in. They are expecting a massive butt whipping. The Democrats, by that I mean, they are expecting it. They know it's coming. I hope it's coming, but you know, whatever. But they're trying to position it so that when election night, it looks like all the votes are just wiping them out. They say it's going to take several days before we know. Now we know what that means. It takes several days to count all the votes. That means it takes several days to decide how many votes need to be manufactured to overcome. We will overcome. He has lit the fuse. He has lit the fuse, and that fuse is not a long fuse. What I'm going to say in this is simply this, that election night and thereafter is going to be an increasingly dangerous time. Those on the left are going to be up in arms. I fully expect there to be an increase in violence, both on a large scale and a small scale. So it's not just the old rioting and the burning and the looting that they're so good at and so fond at. Their peaceful and constitutional right to go out and protest injustice by killing people and robbing people and burning other people's stores down. But it's going to potentially be dangerous on an individual basis. Be careful. Be prepared. Like I said over there on the other channel, make sure that your gas tank is full. Make sure that you got good tires on your car. You don't want a flat tire in a bad area, and we all know where those areas are after this happens. If you stick out like a sore thumb, shall I say, in an area, be careful. I'd suggest you don't go there. Don't go there. You shouldn't be there anyway. Maybe I'll make another one on, there are those who say, well, you should get out of the cities. I'm not, yeah, I mean, you're a little safer out of the cities. But you need to design your life so that you don't have to go to dangerous areas of the cities. And that's just an aside. I think I might do one on that on its own. So stay out of those. If you see problems arising, rioting and things like that, pay attention. Tune into your local news, even though you don't usually, and I don't usually. But pay attention to your local news. Stay aware of what's going on. Make sure that you are always able to defend yourself. Stay in close touch with your family and your friends. Communication is so important. It's coming. This could start a long-term problem in this country, because it won't stop with this election. This will keep going for another 2 years, and then depending on what happens with the next election, continue. So I think that the long-term problems that are going to destroy it, they're finally going to bring down this country, are going to start this election night. I think that's what's going to happen. This will start. This will be the beginning of the end, is my opinion. Okay, that's all I'm going to say about that. I'm going to say, I should throw in, well, I'll say this. I'm going to make one for the Patreon channel. By the way, welcome to all the new people. I didn't welcome you at the beginning of this, but welcome to all of you. It's good to have you here. I got a couple of questions over on Patreon from a couple of Stonemont level. If you don't know what the Stonemont level is, over there, it's the people who have read and ascribed to the principles of the Stonemont series. And all that is the basic principles and ideals on which our country was based and on which most of us live our lives and raise our families. That's the series of my books. For those of you who don't know me, who are brand new, that's me right there, Stephen C. Smith. I wrote these books. It's a Stonemont series. It's a story about how to prepare for, survive, and recover, rebuild after a total collapse. And if you want to know how to be totally prepared, I mean totally prepared, these books will tell you in a great story with a lot of good people in there and some bad people, and how to deal with the bad people and things like that. They're available through Amazon. The links are down there, Amazon in paperback or Kindle, and you can get autographed copies from me. And there's a way to do that too. There's also a way to get to us over on Patreon. That's what led me into this. How to get over to Patreon. If you're not over there and you're interested in more, specific things, there are things that I don't put on YouTube. That's the place to go. I talk about fighting, gunfighting, knife fighting, all sorts of things over there, and other things. It's not all about violence, but it's simply about things that I choose not to put on YouTube. And there's a couple levels, your entry level, and then there's a Stonemont level. And Stonemont level people get to email me and be in direct contact with me and make suggestions, ask questions. I'll answer their questions, or ask me to make videos about certain things. And so a couple of them asked for me to make a video about fitness, and so I'm going to. When I'm done with this, I'm going to make one over there. Fitness is something that I happen to know a lot about. Some of you may know that I used to own a gym, but I didn't just own a gym. I designed and I ran a physical training regimen that if I told you the specifics of it, you wouldn't believe it. It is the toughest physical training regimen of which I'm aware. And very few people made it. The ones who did came out, well, exceptional. I'll just put it there. There's no way for me to explain it to anybody who never went through it, and so I won't try. But functional fitness is how I describe the importance of it. So if any of you are interested in really about fitness, about losing your fat, and I don't say lose weight, because nobody's overweight. If you are, you're just over fat. I don't mince words. I wrote a book in 1994, 95. I don't think any of you know this, called "Winning the War on Fat," and that was before Kindle and all that. I self-published. It was only about 20, 25 pages, something like that. It wasn't much. I told us everything you need to know about winning the war on fat, how to get rid of it, and never to have it again. So I'm going to talk about, and I don't know where the original manuscript is on that. It's around my house somewhere in some box. If I can find it, I'm going to republish it, and then it will be available to everybody. But it is the only book that you'd ever need to know how to win the war on fat and get back to being fit. But anyway, I'm going to talk a lot about that on the one that I'm going to shoot here in a few minutes for Patreon. And if you'd like to join us, please do. It's well worth. I tell you what, I will tell you everything that you need to know, and you should want to know it, and you should take care of it, because your health, next to God Himself, your health and your relationships with your family are the most important preps you have. And there's too many people out there with all the gear, and they don't have the fitness, and they're going to be the first ones to die and be eaten. So anyway, thanks to our Patreon members who asked me for that. I'll be talking about that over on Patreon in a few minutes. And again, be ready. It's coming. This Tuesday is going to start something big, and it's going to keep rolling. And if you're not prepared for pretty much anything, you're going to be behind the 8 ball. So the fuse is lit. It's a short fuse. Watch what's coming and be careful. Remember, the Stonemont series is going to teach you and how to long-term prepare yourself, and anybody can do it. You can't do it fast. I've had people say, well, not everybody in the world has all the money in the world and can't do that. The story in here is not about people who had all the money in the world. It's about people who were aware and were prepared. And you may not be able to get this done in a year or two, but if you start, and you start thinking the way these books explain, you'll get there eventually. And it's kind of like, somebody said, well, if, I'm 40 years old. Well, I'm older than that. Somebody says, why should I start college? And I'm 40, and when I get out of college, I'll be 44. And somebody asks, well, if you don't start college, how old will you be in 4 years? See, it's a matter of don't be dissuaded from something because it's going to take some time. And that's where most people have their problem. It takes too much time. They want an instant fix, an instant gratification. That's not the way the good things are in the world. So for those of you, those few of you who are willing to do the long term, those books are going to tell you how. Okay. Be prepared. Next week starts a big problem. Stay safe. Remember that we prepare well today in order to live well tomorrow. So do it and live well tomorrow. And I'll talk to you tomorrow. Bye-bye.